You know, love for your grandchildren can be the purest, most nourishing feeling in your life. There's something magical about hearing their laughter, seeing their small hands reach for yours, feeling that spark of youth return when they call your name. And yet, sometimes what begins as joy can quietly transform into something heavier than you expected. Aging teaches us that every gift has two sides, the light and the shadow. You may not notice at first how daily babysitting begins to drain your strength. After all, you've raised children before, and it feels natural to say yes when your son or daughter asks for help. But your body today isn't the body you had 20 or 30 years ago. What once felt easy now demands more energy than you realize. The truth is, even love can become too heavy if it isn't carried with balance. I know you want to give, to be present, to be dependable. That comes from the deepest part of your heart. But let me gently ask you, at what cost to yourself? Have you noticed evenings when you sit down and your back aches more than usual? Or mornings when you feel unusually tired before the day has even started? These are not signs of weakness, they are whispers from your body asking for kindness. Think of life as a river. When you are young, the current runs strong and fast, and you can carry many things at once. As you age, the river slows, not out of failure, but out of wisdom. It asks you to choose carefully what you carry, because now the beauty lies in savoring, not in rushing. Babysitting daily may feel like a duty, but it can quietly rob you of the very joy you want to share. And this is the paradox. When you give too much, you end up offering less. Your patience thins, your energy wanes, and instead of joyful presence, you sometimes find yourself longing for rest. It's not because you don't love your grandchildren, it's because you are human, and you are entering a season of life that asks for gentler rhythms. I often remind people that saying, "I need time for myself," is not selfish. It is, in fact, the most generous gift you can give. A rested, peaceful grandparent brings a calm presence, a soft smile, and lasting memories. A constantly exhausted grandparent may offer time, but not the warmth that makes that time meaningful. Pause for a moment and reflect. What does your heart need right now? What would it feel like if your days with your grandchildren were less about obligation and more about choice? Sometimes all it takes is shifting the rhythm, saying yes once or twice a week instead of every day to transform exhaustion into the light. You deserve that balance. You deserve days that belong to you, filled with your own small joys, whether it's tending a garden, reading a book, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of tea. That way, when you are with your grandchildren, you come not as a weary caretaker, but as a well of love and energy they will always remember. I'd love to know, where are you reading this from? Share your city or country in the comments. I'm always curious how different cultures handle grandparenting. There is something important to understand about love. When it flows freely, it nourishes everyone. But when it is stretched too thin, it begins to lose its sweetness. Many grandparents discover this quietly, almost without realizing it. You might think, "I'm helping my children, I'm being useful, I'm giving my grandchildren the love they need," and of course that's true. But here's the deeper truth. You cannot give endlessly without consequence. Love that becomes obligation starts to feel heavy, and your spirit begins to ache, even if your heart doesn't want to admit it. I remember a woman named Mary, 72 years old, living in Ohio. For years, she babysat her two grandsons every single weekday while her daughter worked. At first, it was wonderful. She enjoyed being needed, and she cherished their small giggles, their sticky fingers, their bedtime stories. But after a while, Mary began waking up each morning with a sense of dread. Her back hurt, her knees throbbed, and by evening she felt so exhausted that she had no energy left for herself. She told me, "I thought I was doing the right thing, but I started to realize I was losing myself." What changed everything for her was a simple but brave step. She sat down with her daughter and spoke honestly. Not with anger, not with guilt, but with a gentle truth. She explained that she loved the boys dearly, but could no longer care for them every day. Together, they came up with a plan. Mary would watch the children 2 days a week, and on the other days, her daughter arranged for a neighbor and a part-time sitter. Suddenly, Mary found herself with time again. Time to join a walking group, time to read, time to rest. She said something I'll never forget. Now when I'm with my grandsons, I feel joy again instead of fatigue. They get the best of me, not what's left of me. Her story is a reminder that boundaries do not mean less love. They mean love that lasts. If you've ever felt the tug between wanting to help and needing rest, know that you are not alone. Many of your peers carry the same invisible weight, often too afraid to admit it. But here is the wisdom. Setting limits is not a rejection of your family, it is a gift to them. Because when you are healthy and at peace, you give them the version of you that truly matters. Think for a moment. What would it feel like to say, I can help, but only on these days? What if you allowed yourself to step back just enough, to breathe, to recover, to remember who you are outside of being a caregiver? The people who love you may be surprised at first, but in time they will see the truth, that your boundaries are rooted in love, not in selfishness. This shift doesn't require drastic measures. You don't have to stop helping altogether. You simply need to define what feels sustainable for you. Maybe it's agreeing to mornings only, or choosing 2 days a week, or asking for shared responsibility. Small changes, spoken with kindness, can transform not only your well-being, but also the quality of your relationships. Remember Mary. Her courage gave her family something invaluable, a grandparent who was present, happy, and full of genuine warmth instead of silent exhaustion. Her story can be yours too. And if these words resonate with you, I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss the reflections ahead. Sometimes all it takes is one gentle reminder to guide you back to balance. Your body is wiser than you think. It has a language of its own, and even when you try to silence it, it speaks in whispers. An ache here, a sigh there, a heaviness you carry into the evening. These are not random inconveniences, they are messages. As we grow older, the body no longer hides its limits the way it once did. In your younger years, you could push through exhaustion, shrug off pain, and still find a second wind. But now the balance has shifted. Aging changes not only the way you look in the mirror, but also how your cells recover, how your joints bear weight, and how your nervous system responds to stress. It's not weakness, it's a natural transformation, and it calls for respect. When you babysit daily, you may think you're simply doing what you've always done, but physiologically it's very different now. Long hours of lifting, bending, running after little ones, and managing their endless energy raise stress hormones in your body. Cortisol, the so-called stress hormone, tends to linger longer as you age, which means your body stays in a state of tension long after the playtime has ended. This constant activation weakens your immune system, making you more susceptible to colds or lingering fatigue. Your muscles, once quick to repair, take more time to recover, and your joints, especially knees, hips, and lower back, are more vulnerable to wear and inflammation. Sleep, too, becomes fragile. After a day of overexertion, your body may ache at night, making restful sleep harder to find. And when sleep suffers, everything else follows: mood, energy, even memory. Have you noticed moments when you feel more irritable than usual, or when the smallest request from your grandchild feels overwhelming? That isn't a flaw in your character. It's biology reminding you that your reserves are limited. Imagine your energy like a bank account. In earlier decades, deposits and withdrawals balanced easily, and even overspending one day could be replenished by rest the next. But now the account isn't as easily refilled. Each demand takes more, and the deposits, whether from sleep, food, or rest, arrive more slowly. This doesn't mean you can't be active, loving, or engaged. It means you must budget your energy with the same care you give your finances. Think gently about your own signs. Do you feel stiffness in the morning that takes longer to fade? Do you notice your patience wearing thin more quickly than before? Do you sometimes fall asleep in a chair without meaning to, simply because the day has drained you? These are signals, not failures. They are your body's quiet request for balance. Honoring those signals is not selfish, it's wise. By listening, you prevent small strains from becoming chronic pain and little moments of fatigue from turning into deep exhaustion. You give yourself the chance to remain strong, to be present in ways that truly matter. There is no shame in saying, "My body needs rest." In fact, that phrase carries profound dignity. For when you honor your body's truth, you ensure that the love you give to your grandchildren is not shadowed by hidden suffering. And isn't that what you truly want? To offer them your warmth, your patience, your laughter, instead of only your tired body? So pause and reflect. When was the last time you listened deeply to what your body was telling you? What would shift if you treated its messages not as obstacles, but as guidance? Aging is not an enemy to fight. It is a teacher, asking you to live more gently, more intentionally, more in tune with the rhythms that sustain you. One of the most powerful lessons aging offers us is the wisdom of boundaries. Not the harsh kind that shut people out, but the gentle kind that protect your energy and allow love to flourish without draining you. Think of a garden. Flowers thrive not when they are left unprotected, but when a simple fence keeps them safe from harm. Boundaries in your life work in much the same way. They don't block love, they preserve it. Many grandparents struggle with guilt when they imagine setting limits, as though saying no means they love less. But what if the opposite were true? What if, by creating small, clear structures, you actually deepened the joy you share with your grandchildren? It is not about rejecting them. It is about ensuring you are present in ways that feel good for both you and them. Let me share some steps that can make this more practical. Start by choosing how many days truly feel comfortable for you. Maybe 2 days a week feels right, giving you space to rest on the others. Once you know your rhythm, communicate it with calm honesty to your children. You might say, "I want to give my best to the kids, and to do that, I need some days to recharge." Speak from love, not from guilt. Next, set clear start and end times for when you babysit. If mornings are easier for your energy, offer to watch the little ones until early afternoon, rather than late into the evening. Protecting your energy at the end of the day can make a world of difference in how you feel. Another gentle practice is to create a personal ritual before and after babysitting. Beforehand, maybe you take a short walk, breathe deeply, or enjoy a quiet cup of tea. This centers you. Afterward, do something that restores you, listening to calming music, stretching, or simply sitting in silence. These rituals signal to your body and spirit that you are transitioning between roles, keeping you balanced. And remember, saying yes doesn't have to be all or nothing. Instead of a flat no, try offering a yes, but with conditions. For example, "Yes, I can watch them, but only until 3 o'clock." Or, "Yes, I can help this week, but not every day." This way, you honor both your family's needs and your own well-being. Notice how different it feels when your choices are guided not by exhaustion, but by intention. You begin to show up with more energy, more patience, and more genuine joy. And your grandchildren, though young, sense this. They feel the warmth of your presence when you are not stretched too thin. Ask yourself gently, what boundaries would bring more peace into your days? What small adjustment could give you space to breathe, to rest, to remember your own joys? There is no need for drastic change. Even the smallest shift can create a ripple of balance in your life. Boundaries are not barriers. They are invitations to love more wisely, to give without resentment, to age with grace. When you honor your limits, you protect the very love you want to share. And in that choice, you show your family not only how to receive love, but how to live with wisdom. There is a belief many people carry deep inside that a good grandparent is always available, always ready, always sacrificing without hesitation. But let us pause for a moment and question that. Is constant availability truly the highest form of love? Or could it be that real love shows itself not in endless sacrifice, but in the wisdom to give when your heart and body are ready, so that your presence is full and radiant? The myth of the ever-present grandparent can be a heavy one. It places you in a role where your value seems tied only to how much you do for others, leaving little space for your own needs, your own dreams, your own rest. Yet the truth is very different. A grandparent who protects their health, who nurtures their own joy, offers something far more precious to a family than one who is constantly exhausted. Imagine the difference: a tired, worn-out presence versus a rested, vibrant one. Which would you want your grandchildren to remember? Aging is not about giving up, it is about giving wisely. In these years, your time becomes more sacred, not less. Your energy, though perhaps smaller in supply, is richer in quality. Every story you tell, every gentle laugh you share, every moment of eye contact carries a depth that only comes with years of living. Why waste that richness by scattering it too thin? Allow yourself to see that rest is not an enemy of love. It is the soil in which love takes root and flourishes. When you honor your limits, you teach your grandchildren something invaluable: that love includes caring for yourself. This lesson may be one of the greatest gifts you can give them. Consider this. What would it feel like if your days with your grandchildren were not defined by duty, but by joy? What if you could choose the times that light you up rather than feeling pulled by obligation? Can you imagine the difference in the quality of your presence, the softness of your voice, the patience in your responses, the warmth of your smile, when you are with them by choice, not by exhaustion? Your worth as a grandparent is not measured in hours, but in moments of true connection. A single afternoon spent in genuine joy can mean more to a child than a week of distracted care. You don't need to be constantly available to be deeply loved. What you need is balance, the kind that honors both your family and yourself. So let me leave you with this gentle thought. You are not here to prove yourself through endless sacrifice. You are here to share your wisdom, your laughter, your warmth, in a way that feels sustainable and true. Protecting your well-being is not stepping back from love, it is stepping deeper into it. If these reflections touch something in your heart, don't leave without subscribing. You never know which future insight will bring you the peace and clarity you've been waiting for. And tell me, how do you balance caring for your grandchildren with caring for yourself? I would love to hear your story.